Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Board Gamer Podcast. My name is Tim, and this is the first audio episode that you all are receiving for the first time in a very long time. I believe the last one I did was August of 2020, which is crazy how long it's been since that time for everyone and just me in general. But I did put up a video not too long ago on to my YouTube channel, and you guys can find the links below in that as well. Yeah, for those who are just listening, not watching. I am reformatting my YouTube channel to be just my podcast episodes, as well as some other content, mostly going to be horror, because I really love horror. I really think that's one of the most entertaining things that you can watch on YouTube. I'm very much a consumer of horror-based gaming content. I love watching. I like seeing the scares and the adrenaline, the excitement of people losing it to horror games. So that's gonna be the other thing I'm gonna have on there. But this is just for me to come back real quick and explain to those who only listen on Overcast as well. Apparently, that's like my most biggest platform I have right now for some reason. I get a lot of people on Overcast. Spotify is second, so I guess I need to be more knowledgeable of where my audience lies. Also, the majority is males between 23 and 27, so that's good to know that y'all are roughly within my own age group, and I'm 27. So I just want to come in here, explain what I'm doing for those audio listeners. Those of you on YouTube who have watched that episode, you've already seen me just explain that I'm doing this change. But this is just another little small episode. It probably won't be an hour, but it's just going to be something that I can come back, do a little talk, explain where I am right now when it comes to the gaming industry, and just have some fun real quick before I go into the full swing of doing episodes. I'm going to try to do at least once a week. Once every 2 weeks is roughly within my goal. But yeah, so we're just going to jump right into it. Recently, a friend of mine had sent me this. He did a screenshot, but I pulled up the actual website and got a more detailed breakdown of because the last episode I did, which was the biggest one, in August 24th, 2020, I think, was about the console wars. I pretty much think they're stupid. Statistically, you have your reasons for why one's better than the other, and you can objectively look at console sales and game sales and which is doing better. Objectively, statistically, it's PlayStation. And just for reiteration, as of 2021, because we're in 2022, so we get the full data from 2021. It currently sits. PlayStation has 64.5% of the console market share operating systems worldwide. So systems that hold the PlayStation software in them, so PS5s, PS4s, of all that's out there, 64.5% is PlayStation. Xbox holds 35.48%. And this is what gets me, because I'm not 100% sure it's true, because Nintendo Switch has sold really well. Nowhere near the rate that Xbox and PlayStation sold. So that makes sense that this number's so low, but it blows my mind it is so low, because I know a lot of people that have a Nintendo Switch. It's at 0.02%. This is worldwide. So if you were to look at Japan, I'm fairly certain it changes. But even though the Nintendo market in Japan is really large, it's still majority PlayStation. So it's kind of wild, because they have a lot of stores that are dedicated just to Nintendo, but the market share there is not as high as I would have expected it to be. So I think it's also very interesting. I cannot find it. I tried to find it before I started this episode, so I had this data to explain. But apparently, and this is not surprising, I'm really happy about this actually, because it everyone should be playing video games. Honestly, I think it's one of the greatest mediums we have out there. Second to, well, no, there's a lot of people who nowadays are saying that video games are a better entertaining medium than movies and TV shows. I mean, so Jake Gyllenhaal, I think, said in an interview that he thinks video games are going to be like the top of the top at some point soon, which is awesome. But the stats said that like 48% of all gamers are female, which is pretty cool. And most people within the Gen X generation are mostly mobile gamers. I guess it's easier because you have to have a phone. Most people have a smartphone nowadays, especially the older generations. They have smartphones now. They've had to pull away from flip phones because when the flip phone goes to crap, no one sells them anymore. So what are you going to do? You have to go to a smartphone. Well, because of that, they play mobile games. I mean, Candy Crush was this big thing. What 2012, 2013? I think I was going to college, and people were just like all up in arms about Candy Crush being great. And then people kept saying, "Well, that's just there was a joke going around that Candy Crush was what girls would say. I'm a gamer and they play Candy Crush. It's not true. I play it myself, but I got tired of just having to play the same day, the same level over and over again, trying to get through it. I had other better things to play, other better things to do. I wasn't gonna sit there and spend my time on that. That was just a waste. So I didn't play it as religiously. But there are like hundreds of levels in that game now, and it's just insane to think how massive that game got. But when you look at that statistic, that most of the old generations just play mobile games. If you're not spending your time on gaming PCs, gaming laptops, Xboxes, PlayStations, Nintendo consoles, I mean handheld, you got that. No, it said mobile. It didn't say handheld because that would then include Nintendo, which then would go into the console realm of stats. So they didn't mean mobile, so they didn't mean phones. So it's interesting that that's probably where the majority of that comes from. In some episodes soon, I'll have my mom on, but she's a real big avid mobile player on things like Heyday, Township. I play them too whenever I get around to it, but honestly, I've just been playing this really weird. Uh, it sounds dumb, but it's called Mochi Cat Collections. It's a gacha game where you go through these tasks, build up this currency, these points, and you level up, and you get through activities little they're cats, but they look like mochi, a little Japanese treat, mochi. So they're just like these big puff balls of cats, but they're all themed differently. Like there's a villager, there's a hunter, there's a knight, a priest. There's one that's called Mochi Mochi Mochi, and it's just three different colors stacked up. A sakura, and it's got the flowering coloring too, and it's pink. It's just cute, it's relaxing. It's just pastime. I'm a big person about, I think I've said this before in a podcast way back when, that I really like. I'm a completionist. I like playing games that have like an ending. There's like a list of things for you to collect. Those kinds of things really excite me. I'm currently playing SD Gundam Battle Alliance, and I'm just enjoying the act of getting all the Gundam parts, all the blueprints to get all the Gundams. Like, I want to see a full roster completed. Whether I use them or not, I want to see a full roster. And for those that play SD Gundam Battle Alliance, it's a wonderful game, right? And I've been playing Exia and Cerevi. Cerevi is my ranged. Exia is my melee. In fighter is what they call it. So those kinds of games I really enjoy. So I'm way less of a mobile gamer now, but I do play a lot of Mochi Cat. It seems so stupid if you ever look it up, if you ever had a chance. It's a very bizarre game, but it is very enjoyable to play. But one thing I wanted to talk about was the industry as a whole, the gaming industry. You can't sit there and not tell me that the market we have right now, especially when it comes to AAA games, they're not great. Like, I mean, look at Battlefield's a great example. Like, everyone was so excited for it. It looked good. Comes out, pile of garbage. It was not great. It didn't run well. It didn't meet anyone's expectations. Everyone was so disappointed with it. And that's the thing. You have a massive company like EA, DICE, been doing this for so long, and they come out with a game that doesn't exceed expectations at all. And it takes them until roughly now to make an enjoyable game. Like, I've played a match not too long ago with my friend Wesley, and it's good now, but I still harbor that like resentment of, oh, you guys tanked this game at launch. You've been doing this for how long, and you still come out with hot garbage? Like, you're AAA, you have the budget, you have the means, you have the staff, the side. Like, come on. I mean, you should expect indie developers to not do so well, to not come out with a really good game, because they have like 1, 5, 10 people and a budget of a few thousand, but then they come out with wonderful things. I mean, I don't know when it was, 2014, 15, 6, something. It's been years now. I do not remember the date. I mean, I could quickly just look it up, just for the sake of looking it up. Here we go. I typed that wrong entirely. This is going to bother me now that I need to know this. I'm sorry that I'm like wasting time looking this up, but I got to know. And you probably hear my keyboard because my webcam is actually sitting on my keyboard. 2016. Okay. I was right. Semi. Go back to that for the lighting. 2016. So Stardew Valley came out 2016 after years of being under production of Eric Barron, Concerned Dave, and Barron, I think it's Barron. That's one man. One man made one of the most popular games of all time, an indie game. And I think based off of his sales and the price, he made millions in like a few months. So he was loaded. Building games isn't always about the money. It is, but it's not the main thing, especially for indie developers. They just want to make a really good game. They're not looking for the riches of it all. They're looking to make a really good game for people to enjoy because they really enjoy video games. So do AAA developers, but then you have the bureaucracy of the top management, especially if you have shareholders, and stakeholders and investors, and that's the main problem is investors. Like, you gotta pump out something good. You gotta pump out this now. Like, this has to be, on the market soon so I can start making my money. That's stupid. That ruins games. I mean, look at, what was it? Cyberpunk 2077. Investors. They were the reasons why. They pushed management. Management ignorantly pushed the developers, and it comes out incomplete, buggy. Now, for me, I didn't find that many bugs. Visually, yes, but ones that affected me while playing, no. My only bug, I wish I had this on recording. God, I wish I did. I'd post it on here. I'll have to look and see if I have footage of it. I don't think so. I don't think I was recording at the time, which is disappointing. But I was driving on the outskirts, and between two buildings was this like walkway. You usually see them in more rural areas over a bridge. It's just like a small concrete walk path with fencing over it to prevent people from falling out of it on traffic. That was between two buildings. I guess it's like apartment complexes. It's the future. And I was driving, and I ended up like just driving, and boom, I was up inside of it. Cars freaking out. And then boom, I'm down on the ground again. I'm just keep on going. Like, as soon as I got underneath it, I blipped inside of it. Lost it inside the physics of the fencing. Like, it was trying to figure out why. It wouldn't work. And it was like, why can't you drive forward? I don't understand. And then as soon as I guess I drove long enough forward that it threw me out of it, and I was just back past it, just driving like it never happened. That was the only gameplay breaking or interruption that I've ever experienced. So the entire time I played that game, it was perfect fun. I never had any issues with that. I never had anything that I had to load back out of. That never happened for me. So I don't understand where everybody was like, "Oh, this game is broken. There's so many issues. There's so many problems with it." Not for me. Not that I experienced. But still, it wasn't perfect. I mean, did it meet my expectations? No. I mean, did it have a lot of issues? Yeah, it did. I still enjoy the hell out of it. Me and there's a couple content creators, Blogma Schnoopel, he even, like, still to this day, I think he still plays it a little bit. He loves the game. He thinks the game's great. And I fully agree. It is a great game. It has its problems, though. We're not denying that fact. We're not denying that the game is buggy and is a pretty buggy mess sometimes, but it's not trash. It's just not perfect. Not by any means. And they're finally releasing DLC. Thank God. The first DLC comes out sometime next year. And I'm excited for it. I'm hoping that's free. If not, I'd really like to know how much more content. Is it a really long DLC? It's got a lot of missions to it. Is it going to be something really worthwhile? Because that's a big factor for me right now when it comes to buying a game. Like, is it really worth my time? I'm now back on GameFly because that answer has been no a lot of the times. Uh, Today I should be getting the Pac-Man World Repack game, which I'm really excited about. Um, I mean, it's Pac-Man World from way back when, just done up again. I mean, I like those kinds of games. I like those kinds of platformers. I like a lot of things on the Switch, but the Switch has a lot of problems. And my friend Josh, he expresses that deeply with the fact that you can have a game that runs horribly, that doesn't seem like it should run horribly. Like, God, I can't remember what he gave an example of, but there's games that will just like have bad stuttering, have bad frame drops, doesn't like has lag issues. It's horrible. But then you have things like Hades. That game has so much going on, perfectly fine, no issues whatsoever. But there's so much going on, but it holds frames. It doesn't bug up. It doesn't slow down. No lag. It's perfectly fine. I recently played Kirby Forgotten Lands. That game ran good. Loved it. Beat every bit of it. 100%. Sorry. Try not to yawn. I played every bit of it, but the very last bit of the game, the very final boss, it how do I describe it? It had lag. The frames dropped so severely. I definitely noticed it. Like middle match, I'm walking back, and all of a sudden, if I had an FPS count on the top, that thing plummeted to 10, just out of the blue. It dropped so dramatically on the fly, and held there for a while. And I was really concerned that the rest of the match was going to be like that. It wasn't. It fixed itself, and then the next boss phase, which I thought that was worse, was fine. This is a first-party title for the Switch. I That doesn't make sense to me. That confuses me the most when it comes to the console, because indie titles coming over and having issues, fine, whatever. Totally understand. Someone else is building that. Someone else is working on that. I get it. But when your own game has problems on your own console that it only is being sold on, what are you doing? So a lot of times I'm looking at games, I'm wondering, does it even run well? It doesn't even function. For example, I was looking at the Lego franchise. Like as a whole, Star Wars, The Incredibles, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. And Harry Potter has a collection on the Switch. Good price for all 7 years. Year 1, 2, and 3, maybe even 4, ran perfectly fine. But then people said like 5, 6, 7, or 4, 5, 6, and 7 ran horribly. Just sluggish, running at a good 15, 20 frames. Visually, it would kind of dump sometimes. And first thought is, how do you get there? How do you go from a bundle of games where half of them are fine and the other half don't work? I don't. How games are optimized and how games run is astounding to me when you look at what they are, and things just don't line up. But that's just the problem with the Switch. And I think even Josh said like the Switch is trash or it's ass or something like that. Like he just doesn't think that it's good because of things like that. And it's a very valid reason to have an issue with that. And whenever I do again with the podcast, I'll have him explain it in thorough description of just how much he's not a fan of the Switch. I love it because I love indie titles. Indie has become like my main bread and butter these days. I love playing indie. I currently have Spiritfarer on the Switch. It's good. The sailing around takes forever, so I don't play it as often because that bores me. I'm sorry, it does. And people are probably gonna be like, "Well, you could do something while it's sailing." Yeah, but I don't have supplies. I can't upgrade. I can't build. I've crafted everything. I don't have enough seeds because I'm not buying seeds because I'm not making enough from everything else. I'm putting all my money into upgrading the ship, but I need so many supplies, so I got to sail out halfway across the map to get something, which takes almost 5 to 10 minutes of just chilling and waiting. Like I just take naps in between them. Basically, is what I should be doing. But other ones I'm looking forward to. Big one in 5 days is Bear and Breakfast. This episode is going up is being done on the 10th. I should have it up today or tomorrow, so it should be the 10th or 11th you see this. But Bear and Breakfast, I've been looking forward to that game for so long. It looks incredible. It's running on PC right now, but I want it on the Switch because things like that make sense on the Switch. Like, I played Stardew Valley on PC at first for a while, but my main enjoyment and the main time I spent on that game, which was a lot, like I think 200 some hours, I believe, are on the Switch. What was that game called? Littlewood. It's a really fun indie title as well. I dumped 100 hours on that onto that console. I think the game was like 10, 15, maybe $20. Probably, I think it was about 10, $15. I dumped 100 hours on that game. Indie titles are great because they put so much heart and soul into them. They put so much content into them, and they don't charge more than $20. Like this one that I plan on buying, and I also plan on buying for my mom because it's really cool and the theme is really awesome. It's called Apico, and it's a beekeeping simulator. Essentially, it's what it is. You take care of bees, you produce honey, you breed the different species, and then you hybrid. I think you can do hybrid breeds, and that's all the game is. But it's designed in such a way that it's a lot of fun. Another one's called Potion Permit. Again, another one that's been PC based, but then releasing on Switch now is incredible. You are basically an alchemist doctor, and you go around, you find resources, and you kind of like, it's not really Tetris, but each potion has an odd shape to it, and then all of the different materials that you pick up, all the ingredients, have a shape associated with them, kind of like Tetris blocks, 2, 3, 4, and then the crooked, like the L. They all have different shapes to them, and you got to take these pieces and put them together to make this weird off shape. Like, they don't look like a square, they won't look like anything in particular. Like, one has like a jagged side, a piece that shoots off to the side, and a piece that cuts off in the middle, and then you have to find all of the different ingredients that fit that mold, and you're done. That's how you do a mission. So it's kind of cool in how they do it. There's also a lot of character development, and the villagers have a lot of personality, which is something I really like after Stardew Valley. All those characters had unique personalities, their own not their own text lines or voice lines, I guess. Well, they didn't actually speak, but you know what I mean. They had their own way of talking, their own dialogue that was unique to them. So that's just my kind of cup of tea. A cup of tea, not cup and tea. Another one, let's build a zoo. It's just as I'm explaining it, it's literally a zoo building game. I've wanted something like it, but this game has a morality system in it, I guess is the best way to put it, where you have good decisions and bad decisions based off of the morals of, is this eco-friendly, is it environmentally friendly, is it a negative impact to the animals and how they're treated. So that's a really cool feature. I'm not someone that is going to sit there and tell people like how to treat animals, but I think mistreatment of animals is just in general wrong, and it is a moral thing. So of course I'm going to do everything good, which means that this game allows me to do only decisions that are kind and right for animals, which is what I wanted, because I don't like the general concept of zoos. I feel like some of them don't treat animals properly, especially when it comes to exotic ones. I mean, you're stripping them from their homes, but a lot of them are usually rescues, which is a good thing. And that's how I'm going to play this game. Like, I wanted a game that I could just, you maintain these animals, and you can breed them for new species. You can crossbreed them. It's very weird. I swear to God, I saw one. It was like a cat's head on top of like a pig's body or something, or it was a dog's head on a pig's body. So you can cross the species, which is really messed up. I'm sure the game's going to make you do one as just like a tutorial on how to do it, but I don't want to do it. I think it'd be very weird. I just want to have a massive zoo with all the animals, and there's a good quantity, like 50 or 70 or something like that. And they're talking like hundreds of thousands of combinations for the animals, so it's a very awesome concept, but I'm not sure if I'm going to cross species, and it just seems weird. But if there's like a chart and it says, unlock X, X, Y, and Z list of animals because crossbreeding is actually like a feature of the game, like a big feature of the game, yeah, I'm a crossbreeder. Like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Which is a problematic because I don't want to like mix an animal that should not be mating with an animal. I'm hoping it's DNA splicing. Oh, well then it's not morally wrong. I'm just worried about the life expectancy. But of course the game's not going to say, oh, it's going to come out weak and disgusting and die in 2 days. Like, they're not going to do that. It's going to be like, here's a healthy animal that just happens to have the body of one and the face of another one. It's very weird. But yeah, indie games are becoming my main thing right now. I love indie titles. I think AAA developers are kind of going way too relaxed, and they're making the industry very disappointed in them because they're not spending the time on their titles as they should. They're not. Any developers are spending way more time developing a game that works and is actually fun. Like, Littlewood had no bugs, no glitches, no nothing. It ran perfectly fine. I loved every minute of it. Great game, no issues. You can play Assassin's Creed and you can jump into a brick wall and then freak out and phase onto the planet. Like, I get there's way more going on, but wouldn't you, like, piece by piece, make your shit work? Like, genuinely work? Who knows? You just kind of got to take whatever they do with a grain of salt and move on with your life. A good example of how games are, and actually this is more of a dig at the community. So if you're easily offended or you have a very serious opinion when it comes to the industry and you're going to take offense to this, then just leave. Because I don't care. Saints Row. Objectively, is it a bad game? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It runs horribly. It doesn't look that great. Hey puppies. It doesn't look that great. It doesn't run good either. The mechanics are rough. Gameplay is not great. But don't we remember this little game called Just Cause? Was it a good game? No. Did it have a lot of cool mechanics in it? Yes. But was 9 times out of 10 the reason you played that game dumb fun? Yes. You didn't play that game seriously. You played it because it was dumb fun. Let me propulsion this car up in the air with me standing on top of it and then bump off of it and glide down onto traffic again and then set bombs on it to blow up when it's up in space. Like, there was just stupid things you could do to that game that were a lot of fun. Dumb fun games deserve to exist in this world because it's a break from something serious. Should it be 60? No. Is it a very valid game to be worth 60? No. God, no. It's treated like AAA, but it's not AAA by any means. Sorry, Volition, I think as a developer. It's... You didn't make a good reboot. You didn't. I'm sorry. It's not a good reboot. Is it a good game? No. But does it look like it'd be stupid fun to play? And you beat the story and whatever, but is it just dumb fun to play? Like, people are just like blast themselves off into the air, paragliding down onto a roof, landing it perfectly, doing a finisher on a guy, blowing his head off. Like, it's amusing. It is amusing. I'm pretty sure it'd be fun to play with friends doing stupid stuff. Is it a game by itself? Good? No. But it is what it is. I'm pretty sure that eventually that game is going to be for $30 in the next few months, and it'll just be another game on the market. But people are saying, oh, the franchise is dead. I don't know if the franchise is dead. I think that the franchise just needs to go in a better direction. I don't think it's dead. I just think they need something. You good, dog? I think you just need something. I'm pretty sure y'all heard that. You need some focal point. Like, you need something to actually work on and devote your time to when it comes to the game and make something really good. Because this just ain't it, fam. Just ain't it. That game did not do well. I mean, that thing was... It was treated like hot garbage. Like, honestly, it looks like it is. But there's a lot of people out there making content saying this game's fun to play for just the fact that it's a stupid fun game to play. It's not perfect. Car physics look crap. People seem stupid. Dialogue doesn't sound that great. Your reasoning is, I can't afford my college debts, so let me just, go and do some crime. It seems like a very half-baked game. This is the best way to put it. It's sad, because I really loved those games back in the day. And that's just how it is. I don't really have any other things I wanted to talk about in this just like catch-up video. I think I talked about when I was talking about the console wars was like what I got right now. I have an Xbox Series X now, PS5, Nintendo Switch still, and I have my Oculus Quest VR 2. Now I guess it's the Meta Quest 2. And my PC is not upgraded. It will be soon, hopefully. I'll get a 30 series at some point just so it's up to date. Am I really that stressed about it? No. I mean, most of the things I play are on console. I don't really play a whole lot on PC anymore. I'm just waiting for the Cyberpunk DLC to come out. I got 4 things on my list for PC games. Nothing that serious. If I could, take my webcam. I really could take my webcam and show you guys my screen, but it's stupid. I have a Google Doc. I have OCD. I have a Google Doc that I keep tabs on all the games that I have to play, that are out now, that have DLC, so I know to go back to when the DLC comes out. I don't lose track of what's going on. Game release dates, so I know what's coming out, when it's coming out. How to... It's basically an easy way for me to mitigate my money. Okay, I buy this game. I have this amount of time. This comes out. This is when I buy this. This is when I play that. It's easier for me to manage it when I can see it and look at a list. But also have double that size. Scroll down real quick so I can look at it. Games that are coming out sometime this year. It's getting kind of late, so these 10 games with no date probably aren't coming out this year. 26 on next year, 1 2024, 1 2025, and then 26 games on to be determined, because there's just it's coming. When? Who knows? Metroid Prime 4, if y'all are interested in that, and then Advance Wars 1, 2, and 3 Reboot Camp. Because of what's going on over in Europe. That game's postponed. So, there's so much announced, and nothing's happening. So, yeah. That's really all I have to say for now. One thing I didn't make a point about for audio listeners. Part of me redoing all of this is I will be talking more on just entertainment in general. So as video games, I will be going on topics of movies and TV shows. I watch a lot, so I feel like I have a pretty good handle on what's good and what's not. 1,000 times better than Rotten Tomatoes. I hate Rotten Tomatoes. They are the worst reviewers. I mean, IGN is about as bad. And if y'all know the joke 8GN, because all they do is give things 8s. Unless it's actually good, they give it a 4. And everyone's like, oh, so it's a 9. Oh, it's a 10. Their scoring is trash. There's a dog behind me now. The scoring is trash. They don't know what they're doing. They can't review a game good. They can't review a movie good. If it's Zelda, it's a 10. I'm going to be the voice of reason. I'm going to explain to you where a game is actually objectively good. First thing. Outlast Part 2. It's an 8. It's an 8. I'd say 7. Because story means so much to me. For a single player game all about story, it's 7. If you're talking about story. I'd go down to a 6, but that's just taking away from the fact that it is a pretty game. Wonderful mechanics. Great gameplay. It's a solid game. Trash sequel. Let's take Joel and Ellie's entire development from the first game. Grab that. Just throw it out the window. They've completely just stripped the game of all of its character development up to that point. Joel is smart, capable, untrustworthy of strangers. Then he trusts this chick, and she kills him. Ellie, cool-headed, not overly violent. She even would call Joel out on his violence. She goes overly violent, starts slaughtering everyone. What? I get Joel dying would have been a big break for her and snapped, and she would have gone violent. That I get, but you wouldn't have gotten there if Joel actually had his character development in place from the first game. So that's why I don't give the game a 10. If it was a good, with everything else in place, gameplay, mechanics, the looks, the feel of the game, story was there, 10. Story's not there. Let's go between the two numbers I gave, 7.5. I can't give it a 10. A 10 out of 10 game means look, feel, play, bug-free. I think bug-free is a really big deal. Story, characters, personality, all of that matters. To give it a 10 out of 10, everything's got to be on point. Basically nothing can be wrong. It's got to be a masterpiece to get a 10 out of 10. We haven't had that in a while. I'm trying to think if we had one recently. Thinking back to PlayStation, because that's the only ones. I mean, God of War was a 10. It had difficulty, it had great combat. People were like, oh, it's so repetitive. You just button mash. I heard someone, I wish I could remember the reviewer so I can call him out, because it was a streamer or a content creator or somebody. I wish I remember his name to call him out, because I want it to be out there that I do not like this guy because he's an idiot. But he said, oh, I could just button mash. Go for it. Hit just the attack button the entire game. Die within the hour. Repeatedly. The troll scene, the troll that you fight in the first 15-20 minutes would demolish you instantly. There is no coming back from that kind of fight. You would be trashed, completely just wrecked. There's no coming back from a fight where you're trying to button mash the basic attack button on that troll. Not happening. Not happening. I can never see it. So the game's not repetitive. Combat's not repetitive. You have strategy. Get to where you're fighting those dang elves or fairies or whatever the heck they were that float around with the wings. I guess it's fairies. Fight them with the basic attack button. Go ahead. Don't throw your axe. Don't you dare try to touch that button. Don't block. Don't parry. Don't nothing. Don't do anything but hit the attack button. You'll miss everything because they fly around. But it's just a button smasher. You could just hit the X button. Well, X if it was Xbox, but it's like square. No, you cannot. Sorry. Tell me you never played the game without telling me you never played the game. This is why I don't like when a lot of people review games, because they come up with such terrible takes on things. But I don't know where I even got off on that rant. Oh, those reviewers. So yeah, I don't like a lot of what people rate things like back to movies and TV shows like Rotten Tomatoes. I plan on doing an episode where I go over Rotten Tomatoes top 10 movies, best and worst. Brother, I'm gonna tell you, my brother in Christ, I was livid when I found out what their top 10 worst movies were. 2 weren't even bad. Most of them, either I never heard it, or it was bad. One of them, I'm not going to look it up. I'm going to look it up. It's going to kill me. I'm going to make this one point. I'm up. Focus. There we go. Thank you. I'm going to make this one point for audio listeners. Just give me one moment for me to remember what I was saying. Lowest rated movies. Just give me movies. And it's like the top 100, but there's like a top 10 list I saw before. I'm going to pull it up real quick. This is the very last thing. I'm dragging it out, I'm sorry. But I'm a big fan of movies. Big fan of movies. I love movies. Here's one. I don't want to go through the whole list because I don't want to, but it is one of the most atrocious thing. Oh yeah, Jack and Jill is trash. Um, but they rated so many pretty well done movies, in my opinion. I mean, I'll give a movie a 5 and say it's not bad. Like, watch it once, it's good. I would never say a movie is phenomenal. Rarely. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, one of the best movies of all time. Across the Universe, one of the best movies of all time. The Greatest Showman, close. I love it a lot. It is in my top 10. Not one of the best movies. One of. It's great. That movie is great. Oh my god, this list did not have it. It must have been somebody else's list that had it. It was a werewolf movie with Christina Ricci. And I don't know why. I cannot find it. Cursed. IGN gave it a 15. It came out in 2005. I personally, it was a horror comedy. Why do you blend? Why blend shit? But it was a horror comedy. Gave it a 15. In my opinion, the movie was good. If I had to give it out of a 1 of 100, which I'm really bad at, because then you give me too many options. That's why I like one best out of 10. So they gave it a 1.5. I would give it 6.5. I think it's a good movie. I don't think it deserves. Sorry for making going light to dark. I don't think it deserves a 1.5. I think that is just crap. It was a solid movie. The werewolf wasn't the best. Transformation was weird. There was one that was good. But I think when it was full CGI and not like, look at this person standing in a suit. When it was a full CGI animation, that's what's animation. When it was in full swing CGI, good look at werewolf. When it was, why am I looking at 1961's The Curse of the Werewolf? When it was in full CGI, fantastic looking werewolves. When it was just a dude in a costume standing there, crap. It was crap. Some dialogue choices, dialogue choices were not that great, but in all fairness, that movie was pretty good, pretty solid. I liked it. I like a lot of things, but also hate a lot of things. I'm a very, very complex man. I have a lot of layers. So, thank you all for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this, just like recap and catch up. I'm basically probably just going to call this one a catch up episode. Or just catch up with me. Get ready with me. I hate those. I hate GRWM. Get ready with me. Shit videos that people do all the time. Like, here's my morning wake up routine. Here's how my like facial cleaning routine and makeup routine. Here's catching up with me about content and what I'm doing, what I plan on doing. I've changed jobs. I don't think I ever talked about that. I do have a full-time job, so doing this is just for fun, but I'd like to do it full time. I'd like to get, big enough that I get on a certain podcast. Wood and Bob from the Nintendo podcast, I'd like to come on and talk to you guys sometime, or I can bring you guys on, but you probably don't even know who I am, and you'll probably never hear this for like years until I actually get popular enough to where I can like call you guys out. I'm like, hey, let's do something together. So that's gonna be fun. A year from now, maybe sooner. Listen to the podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed. I keep saying, I'm sorry. It's just my speech. I don't know what the next one's going to be. I got 2 people that I want to do a podcast with, and I have the ability to do an episode with them probably this weekend. Maybe one of them. So I'll have one lined up for sure. And I'm thinking I'm going to put them out every 2 weeks for right now, just to guarantee I have something every 2 weeks. And if I have enough, I'll just switch it to once a week, and it'll be, I don't know, Tuesday? No, Wednesday. I think I was born on a Wednesday, so I think I'm going to use Wednesday. That's a very weird reason to make it my podcast date, but if I'm right, I think I'm right. Was I right? What day of the week was April 12th, 1995? Day of the week was Wednesday. Wednesday is my podcast day. I'm going to post on Wednesday. So, thank you guys for listening, watching, whatever the preference is. Sometimes I do both. When I listen to podcasts, I'll also watch it too. So, for the 1,000th time, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you for sticking around, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.